I'm Paula. I've actually got a background in psychology, but gardening, I've created several gardens, permaculture gardens, over the years, and currently Earth Moves have been given a lease for 4 acres in semi-rural land to do art activities, conservation work, and our permaculture gardens. We have quite a lot of people involved, and they're a very diverse mix. Here is a picture of our Gay Pride celebration. So we think mutual aid, direct action, inclusivity and building resilience are important qualities for us to learn together. This is a picture in the spring of this year. And as the pictures progress, you'll see the amazing amount of work we've done. There's some lovely people involved, all different types of people. A lot of them are neurodiverse, probably about 70%. And, you know, people with a different kind of brain look at things differently. And I think that's good, because neurotypicals have put us in this situation that we're in the environment. So we love to share skills. Everyone has got something to offer, and a lot of people know different things about growing and have different skills to bring there. So we are a diverse and inclusive grassroots community organisation. We provide workshops, retreats, courses and seminars. So we started in 2016 and we've created several different gardens. And you can look at the progress of our latest project, which is really developing well, with the thanks and appreciation to Wirral Council for helping us with that. So we started in a grassroots way by a group of environmentally artistic, like-minded friends who realised that you know, there's a lot of therapeutic benefit in gardening as well as community arts. So those two things are kind of linked. So we believe in quality, so everyone involved with us has the relevant qualifications, because we believe the community deserves high quality education and workshops. We are involved in looking at the difficult issues of environmental destruction and the declining mental health of the population. We believe in inclusivity, learning from each other and mutual aid. The techniques we use form bridges and help towards enhanced health and mental well-being. We also create safe and healing spaces where people can be, you know, neurodiverse, they can be different in their own way, and that's absolutely fine. So here's some little pictures. This is the polytunnel. I think this was in about June, something like that. We erected it in April. We've done lots of lovely events, physical well-being, mental well-being. So we use permaculture and cooperative events, and one of the things we've applied here is using what we have. So the Women's Gardening Group created a willow fence from bits of willow the council had cut down, and we used mulch we gathered from the fields to put on the ground as well. And we are really looking at how to deal with flooding, which is a really essential skill and technology, because that's only going to get worse. So we're hoping to be an exemplar, and we do have plans, and we're working with a hydrologist and the council to create ways of growing which account and use the flooding as irrigation later on in the season. So like in permaculture, we can sometimes turn negatives into positives. And obviously we're really into sharing how these things go. The environmental movement being criticised for a lack of diversity and inclusion, but diversity creates strength and resilience. Many people have said that some of the strategies of exile showed a distinct class bias and lack of concern for more vulnerable and privileged people. The thing is, there's an environmental movement that's been going for a while. Meanwhile, environmental devastation has escalated, mental health has escalated, physical health has declined. So whatever is going on in the environment movement isn't helping things that much. And I'll go into more detail in a minute about that. So fun, learning, connection and organic food growing. I don't like to catastrophize about things to people who are on the edge anyway. So facts and figures about environmental devastation isn't something that we generally talk about. Rather, let's enjoy ourselves in this moment. Let's plant some nice food that we can eat. And for people who haven't got much money, having fresh salads for free that they've grown themselves is really great, especially when those salads have been grown organically with no chemicals and permaculture methods. By the way, we have the best permaculture mentor. His name is Thomas Remias. Some of you probably know him. His book, Forest Gardening in Practice, is really great. And yeah, so he does workshops and consultations for us. And he wrote a report, a scientific report about the site. So we do all kinds of things, education, we do make gardens, we teach positive psychology and environmentalism. We believe the felt presence of the immediate experience has importance for mental health and optimum human experience. We believe in a democratic, fair world without corruption, and this is inextricably linked to real environmental change. Mental health, colonialism, racism, sexism, homophobia, and environmental destruction are linked. Dealing with trauma is important for a community and the world. Traumatized leaders make bad decisions. And these are the three things at the center of permaculture for those who don't know. And this is what we really abide to. It's very simple: earth care, people care, and fair share. Transforming land, transforming people. We've had funding from several areas. It seems that our work that we've been doing for ages is kind of reaching out to this zeitgeist. Planning the site collectively, that's what we always do. We always involve people, and then people could have learning difficulties. That doesn't really matter to us. Everybody has an opinion, and education isn't required. You've got a life, you've got a voice, and you can say what you want. You have needs and preferences, and they can all be thrown into the mix. If you're bothered as an organisation to thoroughly look at cooperative and collaborative methods, you will find that if you work harder and it's longer, but the results are much better because everybody has played a part in it, and you've got an amalgam of everybody's ideas. Engaging with land in creative and reverential ways creates an improved relation to nature. Our ancestors and Indigenous people danced to make crops grow and things like that. Modern people might find things like this ridiculous, but you know, I am an amateur anthropologist and certainly a dance anthropologist, and you'd be surprised how many people still do things like this and hold these beliefs. And who am I to say that it doesn't work? You know, I was christened a Catholic, but I describe myself as a pagan, and I really believe paganism is a religion, well, belief, a system of beliefs, which is really, really focused on the environment, really focused on the land, really focused on praising the land and enjoying it and having a sense of reverence and spirituality towards it. And when you feel like that, you're not going to initiate environmental devastation. Community invite, we really need to get everyone on board. It's not just white middle class people, guys, who can speak about this. Anyone can, but you guys have to open up the doors. You guys have to look at your unconscious bias because other people feel it. I felt it many times. I felt people think that I'm too crazy loud, you know, too working class or whatnot. And I haven't felt like going back. I've been excluded by people's body language and comments towards me. That's what's made me really drive towards inclusivity, because we're all in this world. I don't believe in hierarchies and pyramids of betterness in human beings. I think we're all here and we've all got something to offer. And in an ideal society, there's a place where everyone can excel. So we've built this, we've made this gorgeous meadow, no chemicals involved, and we did it together because we only have 3% left of meadows we had in the 1930s. Absolutely tragic. As British people, we have a right to see meadows and feel that ecstatic feeling of summertime and flowers, and of course the bees and other pollinators need them. It's so tragic. So when we were given an opportunity to plant a meadow, of course we did, and this is going to be extended so that people walking along the lane can enjoy it as well, so it can lift people's spirits in these difficult times. I think that if you're an environmentalist, you've got to be an activist. You've got to pinpoint what is actually going on. Be the change you seek. So many people and so many events being doing virtue signal. I've seen politicians doing it. And as a psychologist, I know what's going on. I know they're trying to manipulate. I know they're trying to get me to see them in a certain way, but it doesn't work on me anymore because I look at actions. What are you doing in your life? How do you live? So don't tell me that I've got to wash out my Dalmio jar when you're driving a big fancy car, gas guzzling, or living in a big mansion or something like that, where no one needs to live like that. The corporate takeover of the green movement creates an agenda that only secures profit and power, guys, really does. They do not care about the environment, hence the results of the COP26. Most companies have green sustainability, in fact, all of them have green sustainability strategies and certificates, yet the environmental problem is escalating. More diversity, less corruption, honest self-reflection. We want a system that encourages leaders who promote integrity and transparency, democracy and inclusivity. Everyone needs to look at their unconscious bias and be more accepting of other people, be more accepting of other people's cultural differences, and look at your covert and overt ideologies that exclude people from being in environmental groups. And guys, I've been told this by lots of different people, Black people as well, who have said that they haven't felt welcome. People and plant diversity means more human and plant resilience. When we're together, we have different skills, we have different ways of looking at things, which come together to create a bigger and better result. We should encourage others to engage in positive action as well as personal improvements. Greenwashing should be looked at for what it is. It's indoctrination. Vandana Shiva, Air Democracy and Soil Not Oil. If you haven't read them books, I would read them if I was you, because Vandana Shiva speaks a lot of sense on these issues, and she's certainly one of the first activists to alert me to this issue. This is the wrong way round, but this is a great book, Ecocide by David White from Liverpool University. It's all about this subject, and because it's written by an academic, it's not conspiracy theories, it's extremely well referenced. So you can see in books like this, if anyone wants to email info@ishtar.tv, I can also send you an email with a collection of papers written by academics, so you can have, a good look, a good intelligent look at this situation. We like using no dig. So, you know, those horrible empty pictures you've seen before from spring, this was in July. So look what we managed to do. And we have created so much, we've added so much biodiversity, we've made so many people happy and feel included in literally a few months. Action is where it really counts. What are you doing? How's your behaviour spiralling out and affecting everyone else? When we do no dig methods like this, everyone else is going to use them on their allotment because they've seen you do it, because I've seen someone do it, because one of my fabulous mentors have shared something with me, and I will go out and do it again. Do it for other people. So we've created these lovely, safe spaces for people that smell nice, that are beautiful, a place to relax. We have lovely vegan community meals. We make them ourselves. We all do a little bit. We use our own produce. And we also have film nights where we watch environmental films outside, which is really nice. We create a place for nostalgia, which is defined as the existential suffering caused by environmental change. We need these spaces for the trauma that we're all going through now, that people who are conscious of this will know about what's going on. It's terrifying. And it's not about me. You know, our life will come to an end, but it's what we leave behind in this world. And I just want to use my life to try and make this world a little tiny bit better by using my energy and my heart-based kindness to try and make people feel happier. So yeah, another picture of our gorgeous meadows. 25 people got involved in that. And they're now all involved in harvesting the seeds for next year. So we've gone through this whole cycle together, which is great, because the ones that flourished are obviously the ones where the soil was, you know, correct for. So that was good. We don't have equal power and responsibility for environmental issues. That is complete gaslighting. People in Africa cause 3% of the environmental devastation, yet they get hit by it the worst. Climate change, the worst. It's really unfair. Loopholes and frameworks that Thunberg talked about after COP exploit the system and avoid accountability. Governments are not doing enough to deal with climate breakdown. Capitalism, a system that we're immersed in like a fish is in water. We can't see anything beyond that, as if that's the only way that we can live. It's a system of exploitation, consumption, and unlimited growth. How can unlimited growth, how can a system of unlimited growth cut back the cutbacks that need to be happening, particularly with fossil fuel for the environment? I think my energy is going to be better spent lobbying and protesting big business and governments rather than policing poor people's recycling and making poor people who've got nothing anyway feel more guilty and bad than they already do. Better still, refashion the future from the grassroots up through direct action and practical initiatives for our communities. Where does the dominant narrative of what constitutes environmental policy come from? Where does it come from? You know, the real changes, it comes from big business, and big business are just interested in making a profit, but they're telling you what environmental policy is, but they don't really care because they just want to make a profit, and their profits will decline if they really put environmental strategies in place, and they don't want to do that. Big business have profit margins as a priority, not environmental concerns, not community concerns. And I tell you what, when people are disenchanted by dominant materialistic values, they feel alienated and outside the community of nature. Big business people like Amazon who encourages consumption, stop people from realizing what is really important. Where do I really feel good? When I'm doing service for other people, when I'm outside, when I'm growing plants, when I'm dancing, but none of these things can be monetized. And that's the problem. Everyone should be environmentally sensitive, of course. I recycle, I buy vintage clothes, I do all things like that. I do try. but we cannot be blamed as individuals, and we are totally gaslighted. And I've heard people involved in the environmental movement doing it as well. I never do it. The mindset of environmental destruction is endemic in the ideological apparatus connected with ideas of hierarchy, superiority and inferiority. Superiority in human inferior nature, human superior nature, inferior women, inferior male, you know, it just goes on and on, this elaborate chain network of superiority, inferiority. These are quotes by George Monbiot. Deep social convention, which has for so long worked against us, kind of become our greatest source of power, normalizing what now seems radical and weird. And this is where Earth Moves comes in, because we've been saying these things for years, and now it's finally in the common zeitgeist, thank God. The global south is more impacted than developed companies. Nature is financialized, which is the colonialization geopolitics. Carbon asset offsetting and net zero are not going to stop climate disaster. That is a naive, childish way to look at things. Carbon offsetting with this calculation, which apparently is, you know, you'd have to be a maths PhD to understand it, and even then they probably don't. Plants use X amount of pollution means X amount of trees, and yet trees are part of ecosystems which are not replaceable. Capitalism commodifies nature as a will to plunder for resources while people are starving and habitats are being destroyed. What we needed at the COP26 climate conference was a decision to burn no more fossil fuels after 2030. Instead, powerful governments sought a compromise between our prospects of survival and the interests of the fossil fuel industry. Without massive and immediate change, we face the possibility of cascading environmental collapse as Earth systems pass critical thresholds and flip into new and hostile states. Not my words, guys. This is George Monbiot from The Guardian. We cannot stop environmental catastrophe when big business is making all the decisions. We can't. It's not a secret that COP26 is a failure. It should be obvious that we cannot solve the crisis with the same methods that got us in the first place. Not my words, Greta Thunberg, who also made clear that we don't have any time anymore, and this is actually our last chance.
So is this your
last slide? This is my last
slide.
So at Earth Moves, this is what we do. We help each other, we lift moods, we try and make things a little bit nicer. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Paula. Great talk.